Ladies and gentlemen, pretty simple. 2 points, capturing at extra time, attack and defend, capiche? It's going to be the UK. Let's start on the attacking side here, but the USA will be defending. Now, last time we saw the UK attack a point, they came in with a very tanky composition. It was Kim on the Roadhog. He found these initial picks. He found ways to turn the fight from a 6v6 into a 6v5, 6v4, finding these initial targets and removing them very quickly. The USA obviously do not want to let that happen. They definitely want to keep the UK at arm's length as much as possible, Matt, while just nailing damage into them, potentially from longer ranges.
Now we'll see what USA decides to do on defense, but I think coming into the second half of this series, something we didn't really talk about, neither did the desk, but both of these teams have fantastic coaches. I know Arrow on the side of Team USA, Hayes
on the other.
I mean, two very experienced coaches, and
you put them in the bracket of the current, like the best Western
some
coaches
of the best, absolutely.
in Overwatch.
And Hayes, he definitely probably saw some stuff in map 2 that they want to further exploit, but you're also probably thinking in your head, Arrow's going to make some changes, right? So I think you're going to see two very different teams here in the second half.
United Kingdom start on the attack with 2 snipers, Hanzo and Widowmaker. So again, they're looking to follow a similar idea as what Kip tried to exploit earlier on King's Road. Get rid of those initial targets. So employ burst damage, ideally applied to the forehead of the enemy heroes, and remove them quickly. So you can see Mikey now obviously not as mobile perhaps as Kip's Hanzo. They're looking to be setting up here. They want to try and choke the USA out. They want to take space. You see Zachary waiting in the wings, bottom of your screen there. Actually managed to hack Kip, which means that Kip, he loses some of his abilities. He can't fire his rapid fire shots, and Raucus mows him down as Muma drops the barrier.
Yeah, he loses the movement capabilities.
He can't climb up those walls when he's hacked, right?
Of New Hanzo as well. And see Sinatra playing Soldier 76. It'll be Cruz actually brings Kip back to life, but 76 obviously gets a buff in the last patch. It's still going to be very difficult though against this double sniper comp. He has to be very careful the sight lines he takes.
This is very brash play from Sinatra to actually sort of play out in the open against an enemy Widowmaker. You see how he opens up with that Helix rocket, because he knows if he connects it, the Widow will be very low. He just needs a little bit of extra damage to finish the job. However, so far not so great for the UK. Fusion's this time being taken down, and you see when the enemy main tank is the first casualty of a fight, then the rest are probably going to get cleaned up pretty soon after.
I believe Fusions did get hacked, and then you're able to take him out, but I want to point out the positioning of Sinatra. So we were on board with him for a little bit, and then he went down to the low ground. And when he goes down to the low ground, he kind of, huddles behind this, mid-hut here. And he knows where the Widowmaker's playing for UK, that they have no sight lines in there. So he's free to rain down a ton of damage on the remaining players trying to get out.
See, Mikey's having none of it. He switched over towards the Brigitte here. So United Kingdom are playing triple support here, in a different way that we normally see it. So obviously they're actually using the Mercy here. Cruz, that Mercy boombox could be in trouble. The Muma drops in. Great stun timing though. Mikey keeps boombox alive, at least for now, by incapacitating Muma just as he gets to his intended target. Zachary fell to Kib, and it's traded out. Both teams have lost their 2 damage dealers at this stage, or one of the damage dealers, should I say. And now Smex can just sort of fold back a little bit, get some damage on space early on. Kib has been resurrected, brought back to life. So the United Kingdom are fighting with 6. Dragon Strike going to go through the small room here. This makes things a little bit awkward for the USA. They need to jump out into the open. Sinatra was waiting for the rest of his team to join him, but the tactical visor from the Soldier 76 finds very little.
Yeah, and you lose the Ana for Team USA as you had that nano boost. It'll be an EMP that comes through from Zachary, just looking to see what he can get with it. Doesn't look like you're going to be able to get much, as that nano boost would have been huge if Moth was able to stay alive. But Team USA is still very much in this fight.
But look at where Raucus is standing. No one's really bothering him right now. He's in a great position to deliver both healing and high damage. 2 things that Zenyatta is a consummate leader in. Just back behind the corner now, the self-destruct was thrown out there. That was to force Raucus out of position, right into the face of Fusions. Great use of D.Va self-destruct there by the UK. Smex really sets that kill up for the rest of his team, and it's looking good now for the 3 Lions. Fusions comes in over the top. Kib on clean-up duty. And the UK, after about 3 minutes, have taken point A, and now it's time for point B.
Then USA does use the nano boost. So Moth coming off of spawn. Actually, Muma hangs out here right outside, so he gives him LOS. Be able to land that nano boost on. You didn't get the effects of the healing. Muma was pretty topped up at that point, but just get the damage mitigation, obviously the extra damage that you can do with it, try and change the fight. Doesn't work out. Sinatra makes a change, so you won't see the 76 here on point B. It'll be a Brigitte of his own.
Yeah. Kib here has another Dragon Strike on Hanzo. So, I mean, Dragon Strike's very flashy, very impactful ultimate, but it's better at actually just moving people out of the way or forcing people to reposition. Kib now through the wall sends that one. You can see it cuts Moth and Raucus off from the rest of their team. It forces Raucus to use Transcendence now to actually be able to play the game on the point with the rest of his team. But Boombox responds with a Transcendence of his own. Smex is in the corner. He got naded by the enemy Ana, by Moth, so he couldn't actually benefit at all from that Transcendence healing, and that actually really hurts the UK. They needed Smex to be topped up on health. Boombox is clutching to life as Cruz swoops in to try and keep him topped up, but there's not really much chance of the UK actually being able to push forward here at all.
UK did get a tick though on the point, so little sense of accomplishment there.
Oh, they're 33% of the way, but now Movers are starting to stomp the yard and the Hanzo.
So he'll have the nano boost available for Team USA. Zachary with this EMP, especially on Volskaya at this point, even when Sombra, before the updates where she gets a bit of a buff, she was played a ton on this point, right? Because you can get a lot of value hacking a lot of these health packs in the EMP.
Do you use this aggressively, or do you wait for the UK to push in? Like, where's the best timing for Sombra to use his ult?
I find it to be useful here aggressively because they have to come through this choke point. Not a lot of areas for players to hide.
Oh, there it is. EMP comes out. Fusions is grounded. There's no way he was able to jump up into the air. The hack rendered him essentially useless as Winston. There's really not much you can do at that point. Just your primary fire is all you can really use there. Sinatra deals with Smex, he goes over the edge. Obviously, D.Va players often find that the enemy team tries to keep them alive after they get demech because you can't do much. You're a small Korean lady with a blaster. You know what I mean? It's not going to be effective. So he heads over the edge to make sure he can respawn back with his mech and fight at full capacity now.
Yeah, I mean, you do see Zachary getting good value out of those EMPs, connecting with a little bit over 3 players per EMP. So
which is solid, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, when you can connect with half the team, you get one support in there, a tank. You've done your job if you're Zachary. He gets kind of low, so has to hide out here.
Kib did a good job actually revealing him and sort of, putting him in a nasty spot. No more Sombra available now for the USA. Raucus pushing forward with the Transcendence now. Good timing. The Dragon Strike was going to do a lot of damage, take a big bite out of the USA, but the damage seems to have already been done. Fusions have a Primal Rage now, but he wants to try and hunt down Moomer a little bit more. The Discord Orb applied by Boombox, making that damage stick that much harder. And now the UK have 2 ticks on the point. USA have to push in very quickly to try and stop this from happening, but the UK just funnel into that small space. Smex knocked down there. Zachary on the Doom just in mid-air, but he's taken down. Cruz removes him with the boot, and that will be the UK finishing Volskaya here with a little bit of time in the bank as well. But those early picks, Zachary falling early in that fight, definitely was not a good omen for the US.
They got away with a few fights. You see the UK 2 minutes remaining, but USA, you had Muma die really early the fight before, and then you're able to rally it back. Just this time, you're not able to overcome having one of your players die first. You have the really nice Dragon Strikes through the wall from Kib. He's able to get the fight previous, he got Raucus to use Transcendence. The next fight, that you got space low enough that you were able to get the D-Mech right after that. So you're getting decent value out of these Dragon Strikes from the Hanzo. I think it's interesting of what Team USA will respond with. As I think preparing for this event, Mitch, a lot of teams, they expected, and rightfully so, to see a ton of triple tank, triple support, just battling it out. A lot of teams probably scrimmed that a ton. Had some strats for the anti side of it, or to counter it if yours didn't work. We're seeing a lot of different things from UK that Team USA probably didn't expect to see from them. They probably expected to see a lot of different looks from whether it be South Korea later in the tournament, or maybe whether Canada or China, but they probably expected UK to come in and primarily just play triple support, triple tank.
Well, no, this is just a very interesting composition here from the UK. They tried to use it on the attacking side as well, the double sniper setup. It's actually a composition that, we saw a little bit maybe in stage 3 of the Overwatch League. So I'm talking like June, sort of July maybe, and then sort of wasn't very popular for a while, as shields are very good at stopping snipers from doing their job. But with the USA not really wanting to play a super tanky composition, this can definitely be quite critical.
You're going to see Ana Mercy here from the UK on defense. So usually 2 supports that aren't really comboed too often with each other. You want usually a big support ult, whether it be like Transcendence, a sound barrier. You don't really have that with these two. Valkyrie obviously does put out some good healing. A really nice headshot from Kib there that'll prevent any type of push from Team USA. But it's a very interesting look here from the UK. Something a bit different.
I mean, William Tell's rolling in his grave, but that's what Kib actually wanted to do. So the initial headshot on Moomer was quite big. So you saw the Winston jump in, you heard the dink, the very satisfying bottle cap removing sound of the headshot they're connecting. And Moomer at half health has to sort of wait for healing from the rest of his team. So it actually staggered and slowed down USA's push there.
Yeah, now you will see Zachary play Widowmaker here. When Widowmaker comes in, you usually do see Mercy as well. So now you see the Mercy Ana from Team USA. So Mercy, you damage boost up that Widowmaker, you damage boost up Hanzo, you can get those really quick kills.
Kib knows approximately where Zachary is. So it's going to be a game of chicken here, but Kib has access to Sonic Arrow, so he can see through that wall, and he'll know when Zachary's trying to peek him.
And this is a good response as well from Team USA. So Muma going to play Wrecking Ball, very effective against the snipers. You see Sinatra in a 1v1 here in the back. It's Mike A really weak, forces him out of position.
Well, Kib also being jumped on here as well, but great healing. Look at him. He was down to about 30 health being chased by the enemy tanks, and he's still standing as a result. Muma just drops in on top of Boombox there. Kind of like bombing battleships, except not very pleasant for the UK in any sense. Muma now dropping away, of course, and he's actually got the nano boost here as well. It's going to be a very angry Wrecking Ball. Muma not only has a lot of damage reduction, but he hits that much harder. This gives the people's elbow to Smex. And Muma knows that point A's been taken, so he's going to forge ahead now and try and set up and entrench himself here on this point B and make it harder for the UK. If he can find a pick as sort of this embedded sleeper agent Muma, it'll be huge.
Yeah, and Wrecking Ball is even more effective against the snipers than, let's say, Winston would be in terms of, you're able to close the gap, the same level of mobility, but then you have, being able to use those shields, and then obviously the pile driver, like you see there, you're able to do a ton of damage in a short amount of time, really eliminate those snipers.
Fusion's actually put to sleep during the nano boost. He was trying to go forward, I think, with that Primal Rage, and it's not going to be an option to him now. So that ultimate's essentially been rendered useless as he was essentially napping on the job. Muma's very close to the minefield here as well. Wrecking Ball's so good at denying massive areas at any one time. Sinatra and Boombox are both traded out for one another, but Sinatra's brought back to life. Cruz will also resurrect Boombox, so both teams have brought their down players back into the fold, but Sinatra gets taken down again. Muma now looking for opportunities here to disrupt, but the UK don't seem to be paying him much attention at all.
Yeah, and Moth uses his Valkyrie, I believe, right as about Sinatra drops, so don't really get a great use of Valkyrie. That big Mercy ult is more changes coming through. From Team USA, maybe use some of those ults because you want to change things up. So Zachary will play Genji here. You're going to have Sinatra switch over to Brigitte. And then Moth will play Lucio. So very interesting comp. Very mobile, right? They can get in your face. Muma and Zachary jump on the same target. They're going to die rather quickly. Let's see how you use the minefield here as well. Not going to use it right now, getting hacked up. But
you can see what happens when Muma gets hacked. When that Wrecking Ball gets hacked, he can't roll around anymore. His mobility drastically reduced. So the minefield has dropped down. So a lot of the point now is going to be covered by these very dangerous explosive devices that need to be cleared. They last quite long if they're not. Zachary finds Smex, and here's that EMP. Mikey A is actually able to, turn off those mines on the point with the EMP and the rest of the abilities for the USA. But Fusion seems to have gone overboard. Geronimo, he says, as he jumps off the edge of the map. Boombox and Cruz getting taken down, and Zachary's now causing some big headaches for the United Kingdom. Kib's forced to jump over the edge on Hanzo, but that's a huge nade from Raucus. Bionic grenade, preventing the UK from healing whatsoever. And it's an absolute stop on that last point. Fusion's sheepishly a little bit late to the party.
once they make those changes, they steamroll right through. Love the change from Muma to go from Winston over to Wrecking Ball. Very good against snipers.
What's the impact there? Was it just to chase down those snipers? Is that why you want to see Wrecking Ball here?
Yeah, I mean, Wrecking Ball is very, I mean, the damage is extremely high compared to Winston,
when
right?
He just drops down on him.
Drops down, and then the guns that he has, very powerful. And then when you get that comboed with obviously Diva's great in every situation,
Look at the knockup from Muma. That was what set that up, right? So Zachary, he had all his ducks, all his nerds in a row there. As you know, the UK were knocked up, and he was able to dash through two of them. That's what we call value there. And Zachary looking very pleased, although very composed given current circumstances.
So we'll see. In this next half, I love that we're seeing both teams pull out so many different things, right?
We thought we were going to see like a lot of these triple, tank triple support compositions,
which you will,
and like that will be a bit more of a war of attrition. Watching those sort of compositions, there's a lot of nuance to that, believe it or not, despite the fact that it's the more heavy set characters just belting each other around. This though, much more subtle. We've got, scalpels being applied in the form of these, these snipers. We've got sleeper agents in the form of the Sombra, and of course, the Wrecking Ball just for, Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, so now you have Team USA playing a different composition on their defense. Zachary playing Sombra again, just like the last half. You're going to have Raucus this time being the Ana player. You had Moth do it in the previous half. Muma gets low,
that was
very
very aggressive from Raucus, that play, man.
But you have Sinatra playing Wrecking Ball here, so we'll see how he goes on that hero.
Oh man, look at him land. It's a mess. I'll be honest, we're seeing what he's seeing, right? There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of chaos zone because of the presence of that Wrecking Ball. But there's a second player down for the USA. Muma fallen. Zachary went down early once again. He'll return to the fray as Doomfist, who definitely packs a bigger punch, no pun intended, than that Sombra, but is far less subtle. A little bit more like the sledgehammer to the scalpel. And here's the drop in. You can see just how high up Sinatra can get, but he sort of falls down amidst an enemy who are ready to sort of turn and focus fire on Kim. Kim sets the Dragon Strike across the point, and Mott's trying to keep it contested by playing just in that corner. Not very good in a sumo match, but very good here when they're trying to keep control of the point for as long as they can. Boombox, he doesn't even need to use his Transcendence map. What a clean fight from the United Kingdom. Kim just killing it.
You see the Discord orb just coming down from Boombox, and towards the end of that, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, if they come out of this holding on to the Transcendence, they're in a good shape, because look at this. UK is going to have everything outside of Dragon Strike to use here in this next fight.
Zachary's playing his third hero in the last minute or so. So he's had to switch a lot of times. The USA are trying to be proactive here and answering what the UK are bringing, but UK, you said it, Matt. They have so many ultimates to use. Their raw power they can bring to bear in this fight is just going to eclipse that of the USA. That's the first one, though. Transcendence in from Boombox. Cruisers also use his Valkyrie as Mercy, so a lot of healing being dished out right now. Sinatra can't escape that one. It's like Mousetrap 3D. Fusions drops in on Raucus and removes it. Now the Primal Rage. Look, he can block this very small aperture with those swinging fists. It's very hard for the USA to get onto the point. They have to regroup, but they're running out of time. That's 2 ticks now. Muma is the brave man to step up forward. Geronimo, he says, but he exits almost as quickly as he enters. Sinatra's taking low space. Oh, he's done it again. Oh, first it was in the group stage, and now it's here. But will it be enough to get the USA out of trouble? Mikey A on the point, getting dashed into by Zachary. The Dragon Blade coming out now. The Brigida are one kid, and Muma helps out. Specs is being forced away. He will eventually be removed from this fight, and somehow the Hail Mary self-destruct for Space once again finds the mark. And the UK are barely going to get back to the point in time. Unbelievable stuff.
Now we can check this out from Space's POV. Is we are in overtime in the actual game. You can see that in bottom right, but Space, oh man, beautiful. Everybody lined up in that alleyway. There's nowhere they could go.
So this is the overtime here. The UK have just stuck one player at a time on the point here, just trying to keep things going. Specs tries to drop in. Sound barrier was given there at least to Specs. He had the shield, so a reactive shield. The more enemies near him, the more shield he gets. And you can see Mikey A's throwing himself on the point, but that's a nice body grenade from Raucus, making it impossible for the Brigida to heal at all. And our Boombox is just going to be dealt with accordingly now. Not a lot of health left on that Zenyatta. And Sinatra this time, that was an actual sound barrier from Mott. And it's going to be 1 by 1 for the most part here, but this isn't Noah's Ark, UK. This is the USA returning to form. And it is Space. For the second time on this roster, but he's done it many times before for the Los Angeles Valiant. Saves the day with a big old self-destruct.
And there's nowhere the players from the UK can really get to at that time. They're pushed up a little bit too far to know that they won't make it back into the little cubby with the small health pack.
They're overextended at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could try and walk forward to the point and then around the corner, but it's going to be very difficult in that type of situation. They try and just back out all the way through the alleyway. They don't make it out in time, and that really is what comes down to them not being able to cap that last point. If those 3 players do not get hit with that big self-destruct, they probably complete that point. They have 4 on the board.
That's incredible composure to me. You saw it started so well for the UK. Just having that transcendence, Matt, after capturing point A, Boombox, of course, able to bring the ult in to start off the next fight. It looked like it was going to be all about the 3 lions there. Sometimes Overwatch is that kind of game, right? Ultimate abilities are so powerful, especially with most of those heroes that are being used at the moment, either defensively, for healing, or defensively in the sense of creating space and punishing enemy teams that overextend. So the United Kingdom now has 3 checkpoints and 76.3% on the 4th. So the USA need to beat that to win the map here.
And it's a change from UK on defense. I know they were playing the Ana Mercy before. Now Boombox going to play Zen. I think you've been getting a ton of value out of his Zenyatta. It's the guys on the desk brought up during halftime. I love to see him on the hero.
Sinatra knows someone's around that corner, I believe. He may have seen Fusions, just a hint of him, but he doesn't want to commit to this fight because it was so low. You can see that Kib is actually, shooting those arrows in and making it a little bit difficult for him to hang around, but no, Fusions is caught out, and the plan from the United Kingdom to play with that Winston and entrenched in a forward position may not work out here. Kib, though, getting rid of Sinatra is big. Zachary, if he has time on this point, though, enough time to find these shots, he could be in deep trouble. Off-screen, Mikey A has just removed Moth, though. Very important pick.
And Raucus is, behind enemy lines here, so looks like he will be able to make it back to safety, but Mikey is going to get pushed.
They see me rolling. Hey, Mikey. Although Mooma just really comes in for the fist bump, but he doesn't actually commit to trying to remove this Widow. Notice the bubble being thrown over the top of Mikey. So Fusion's there, putting him in the cone of silence to protect him from sort of longer range projectiles. But it's going to be tough here. United Kingdom being forced back into the small room. Zachary had a great position, but Fusion's dropped in on him. It looks like the USA, sorry, taking this one quite slow. That nano boost, though, that might be the start of pistols. Mooma's now starting to get a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, they're going to get nothing out of the Dragon Strike. Doesn't really separate the players off as well as the USA has not made any progress taking this point, Mitch.
They're not getting any kills.
No, UK is able to hold on in a lot of these fights. Now, the Team USA, 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Still a ton of time here. Cruz and Boombox, both with support ults. See if Sinatra can make a difference. Get behind enemy lines. You have no support ults on your own. So Moth will switch off. Mercy go over to Lucio, and you're going to have Sinatra go back to the Wrecking Ball. So Wrecking Ball obviously extremely good against the snipers, like we mentioned earlier. You're going to see now a really strong combination, right? A lot of mobile tanks here for Team USA.
Absolutely. Again, it's about finding those kills. We saw them, you know, USA had a lot of space control, right? They were moving around, they were rolling, it was all fine, but they weren't finding those kills. Mikey surely has got to go down here. Sinatra trying to chase him, but he can't quite find him. The Discord Orb now applied to the Wrecking Ball makes him far less durable in the face of all this damage. Cruz actually gets the finish on space there with the Caduceus Blaster and brings Kip back. So Cruz creates a +2 player differential essentially by getting a resurrect and finding a kill. And that's massive for the UK.
And remember we were talking before about all the little details, right? Like looking for different things. Right there you saw before he popped this Transcendence. Obviously, Mikey is so low, you need to get that Transcendence out of Boombox. Throws the Discord Orb onto Sinatra, then uses the Transcendence. Make sure he stays in the line of sight so the Discord Orb stays on him, and then you're able to burst down that Wrecking Ball. It's just a little plays. Big play there from Boombox.
Specs here, he's like the security guard, so he allows the tanks to pass through. Oh no, he gets hit by a grenade on the backside. He needs to be very careful. Specs needs to wait the effects of that off and get healing back, but he doesn't get there in time. It'll be a self-destruct, and now Mooma, no, he gets rid of the desuited Diva, but he gives up his life to the self-destruct. A 1-for-1 trade in that sort of scenario. Sinatra again looking for more targets in the backline. Mikey can't see much of this action, which is of concern to him. He's trying to bail out his backline. Get a headshot on Raucus, no, he just hits the body. Raucus is alerted to the presence of the Widowmaker, is able to back inside the bunker. Sinatra, good chase down on Cruz here. He doesn't quite get out alive, though Kib, one of the fastest guns in the West, and Trace is definitely quick on her feet.
Looks like UK will back out here. Kib kind of poking a little bit. He'll move all the way back, though. So Team USA in a nail-biter will be able to take point A. Less than a minute, though, here to attack point B.
Only a 30-second time extension now, so the USA need to pretty much push through and capture point B now. It can be done, but I'll be honest with you, they're up against the wall. They've got a sound barrier here for Moth, but Boombox has that Transcendence. UK have made a few hero switches, so they're obviously reset on ultimate, percentage on Kib and Mikey A. Sinatra, I mean, a good minefield over on the point could set things up quite nicely. They're trying to isolate Smex here, who's getting killed by that Orb of Harmony. He needs a little bit more help, but Zachary's down early. Mikey picks him off on the Brigitte.
And that was big because they were trying to build up that Dragon Blade, potentially get that Nano Blade going. It'll be a self-destruct from space. You connect with Smex in the back.
Yeah, Sinatra now using the minefield, creating a bunch of space, and the Transcendence comes in from Boombox over the point here, trying to keep his team alive against the grenades and the extra damage, but Fusions jumps on Mooma comfortably enough. Fusions gives up his life to get rid of the enemy Winston. The UK have been given time here, time to react, time to regroup, time to set up. Sinatra knocked back there by Mikey A, who's defending staunchly his supports in the back line. But Zachary's found Smex once again. Now it's time for the Dragon Blade. It's now or never. He's going in. Kib's found two. Zachary's removed though. Cruz, who used to be a Genji main, knows just how to deal with that kind of stuff. Now it's a last chance for the USA. Desperately they throw themselves at the point. But Mooma is removed. Orb of Discord's so powerful here, and Boombox is channeling that Zenyatta prowess so well. EMP just to finish the job, and Raucus has caught him that one. Nothing he can do about it. And the Three Lions take it 2-1. They lead the series now against the absolute favorites of this tournament, Matt.
Oh, nobody expected this in our first game of the day. The UK has showed up, Mitch, and you know, Kib was tremendous on all the different heroes he played, but really, you know, Boombox has made a big difference in the support role. You know, sometimes during the Overwatch League, obviously, you know, a lot of you guys tuned in every single week, you'd see some up and down performances from him on the Philadelphia Fusion. Today, he's been very strong in that flex support role, which is so important.
to put this in context for our viewers at home, this is literally out of 8 teams. This is seed number 1, the US, versus arguably, you know, the 8th seed in the United Kingdom. It's David versus Goliath kind of stuff here. And, you know, it looks like the USA have really walked into the Three Lions den and we're not ready for this at all. And by the look on the faces of the UK players, perhaps they weren't either. Either way, Matt, we've got more to talk about, but I do want to get a feel for what's going down on the floor with our insider, Frankie.
I'm not on the floor, I'm actually in the walls. And earlier, the UK did the unexpected and they managed to claw a map, and now another map away from the confident paws of the USA, something that would have absolutely knocked the confidence of the hometown heroes. And looking back to those group stages, I spoke to Coach Hayes about a key weakness that the team experienced in their match against France. He told me they lacked confidence in their in-game decisions. So if they can stick to their guns and see the strats through today, perhaps they can pull off a shock victory against the USA today. And the biggest upset could still be to come. Cruz revealed to me this morning that the UK have been preparing a brand new composition, especially for this forthcoming escort map. But will the USA be anticipating the roar of the Lions? What do you think, casters?
I tell you what, I mean, the fact that we're even in this situation is probably not an eventuality that we prepared for. Last year, Team UK, you know, entered very brashly into the World Cup and very quickly were evicted by, I believe it was Sweden actually in their first map. They just looked really average. So this is not a situation that they or their opponents or you or me or Matt would have expected. But more importantly, how did the US fight back from this kind of deficit there? That's got to be crushing.
Yeah, and that's some great insight I know that Frankie gives us. She was telling me in the back earlier today as well that, like, the UK, they were planning, you know, for this 4th map. They're like, if we can get to the 4th map, they feel really good. And then she was, you know, obviously doing the inside roll. Well, you guys realize you need to win 1 map before that to get to the 4th map. They probably didn't expect to be up 2-1 going into that, but we'll see what they have planned here, because whatever their strategies and coaching adjustments that Hayes has come in with have worked, maybe they, you know, ditched the plan that they had because, like, hey, we found something that, you know, is really making Team USA think a little bit, change up some of the stuff that they want to do originally, or use those pre-planned strats they came in with.
Is this where the USA exit the Overwatch League, Overwatch World Cup? I mean, crazy to think that, but it may well be here. Route 66 is going to be our 4th map of the series. Now, if the US can claim this map, then they'll be able to push it to a tiebreaker. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Perhaps those of you at home not familiar with how escort map types work. So for that, of course, we have a breakdown for you.
This is escort. 2 teams face off as either defenders or attackers. This is the payload. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to escort the payload along a set path containing 3 checkpoints. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby at the same time. To get moving again, attackers must clear away the defenders by force. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. If even one attacker is near the payload when the clock runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared off the payload or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That will lay out how our escort map type is going to work. And as Frankie mentioned before, that's why I want those little tidbits of information. That's the juice. She mentioned to us they've been preparing something special. Now, sometimes in Overwatch, that something special can blow our minds and change the game for months, if not years. Sometimes it falls flat on its face in its very first showing and doesn't really look very good. Which one that will be here remains to be seen. We know that, you know, Hayes is a very seasoned coach, right? Like, this is not, you know, he's not clowning around with these boys, and I'm pretty sure the UK at no point in this series will be looking to sort of troll and just sort of have too much fun with it, because they weren't expected to win this match at all.
No, and well, it's also, I mean, you come in as the underdog, you're not expected to win, you kind of play with a little bit of house money, so to speak, right? Absolutely. Nobody's expecting you to win, you can try some stuff. If it doesn't work, nobody expects us to win anyway. If it works, great, we win and we move on. I do wonder how much Bren has to do with this. Obviously, Bren would always pick the Shanghai Dragons during the Overwatch League.
And how many times did they win?
Not at all, but no, he had that USA bit plan, you know, kind of cursed on them a little bit. So who knows? It'll be Looks like it's going to be quad tank here for Team USA on defense, as you'll have Zachary playing Roadhog.
Okay,
For the UK, you're going to have, okay, so this is interesting. You just have that Hanzo to check the inside of that car. You're going to play Zen Lucio. Okay, so they're just going to go, nothing really too special here from the UK.
This looks fairly standard, right?
Yep.
I like this Zenyatta here for the United Kingdom. The USA are all about big, bulky heroes with large health pools, and that Discord Orb is going to be instrumental in cutting them down to size, obviously giving your team extra damage on that particular target. Now, moving a little bit low here, and these teams have actually swapped places essentially. The UK are trying to put the USA into like a, a bit of a scenario where they can make a concave around them. That's the first pick. Muma going down, the Reinhardt being missing for the USA is very bad news indeed for them.
And for me, the difference here in these compositions, Mitch, is, the Brigitte for me is huge for the UK. Because with Team USA's comp, especially in this counter pick type of gameplay, right? Where it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, so to speak. Like USA, they come out with quad tank. Right. Quad tank, Moira Lucio. Everybody needs to stay grouped up together. Where can the Brigitte get so much value is when players are clumped up, using the flail, getting rallies faster, keeping that healing over time going on the entire group. Plus, then you have the benefits of Boombox's Discord Orbs on Zenyatta, and that's where they're able to make something happen.
No!
Oh.
Fusions, that's a massive Earthshatter, and that might be a chance for the United Kingdom to continue to extend their momentum in this particular match. Raucus is forced to frantically dig deep in his pockets to find that Coalescence ultimate. Kip going down there with that rally was pretty nasty, but oh, Mikey, he didn't just do that, did he? He tries to go for the Graviton Surge, but cleverly Space eats that one up with the Defense Matrix. It may not matter here, Matt, as the United Kingdom are just barreling forward with such great pace, but still losing that ultimate here kind of sucks.
Yeah, but he probably will build up to it pretty quick with how him and Sinatra have played thus far. You're going to have the Earthshatter come down from Mumi. See Mikey there on the ground, but you're not going to have any follow-up. It's still the UK. Going to keep pushing this payload.
This is unbelievable.
Unreal.
This is absolutely unreal. The United Kingdom in their group stage matches in Paris looked decent, but they still got crushed by France. And even Germany gave them some problems in that 3-1 victory. But here, they look completely different. Fusions, I mean, we talk about him maybe being the less aggressive counterpart to Christopher, obviously who he replaced now, but that Earthshatter was centimeter perfect.
And I can't stress, how impressed I think the both of us were with Fusions when we watched UK the other day. Just his calling was so strong as see more Earthshatter coming down here. Fusions knocked down a few players, and UK continue to move this payload. So see what Team USA will answer back. They do need some massive changes. Raucus, now gonna live along there. So USA, the changes across the board. Zachary will play Pharah now. Sinatra will play Doomfist. Now you're going to have Muma playing Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball also effective against the tanks, right? You're getting around those players who are playing very close together, and you're able to get a lot of those shields.
The USA have often said, we are the team that can break this triple tank, triple support composition. We can unwrap it. That's our sort of secret weapon. Well, they need to bring that to bear now, otherwise they are going to be out of a chance to prove themselves any further at this World Cup. With so many expectations on them. Fusions takes a huge amount of damage. They're being knocked back into the wall. He's forced into a charge, and that ends up in his demise. Sinatra again, charging the rocket punch, looking for another target when most of the fighting is occurring overhead. Sinatra tries to target Mikey Ye, who quickly gives himself a barrier. Sinatra gets bashed into by Kib now. With the Graviton Surge and Self-Destruct, that's going to claim space. He gets removed from the fight now. Zachary needs to do some serious work from the high ground here, but not all of these rockets are connecting, and the rest of his team, the boots on the ground for the USA, are being ripped apart.
Yeah, and if you're Smex, you just got to fire some shots at Zachary in the sky, get that defense matrix up. It's really about winning this war on the ground, and then you see that then they change their focus. They look up towards the high ground. Interesting, maybe you see they change off of the Wrecking Ball, but you play Wrecking Ball just to get back quick.
Now you have
Mikey, come back.
Interesting for the USA, like if they sort of persist with playing that Wrecking Ball here. So in the past, Reinhardt's been very commonly used defensively on this map, especially when your enemy team has a lot of poke damage, long-range damage. The United Kingdom aren't using any of that. They're relying on heroes that want to take a close-up fight, just like this one. Self-Destruct in over the top, and that's 2 kills. Perfect stuff by Muma. He sets up that double kill by getting a big knock-up, obviously as he came down on that Wrecking Ball. This will force UK to back away completely.
Yeah, you want to get aggressive here, your Team USA. Prevent them from coming out of the spawn. You want to keep Doomfist in these close areas, right? Able to get in, get out, get those quick insta-kills.
Oh, he actually gets himself a nano boost, but is stunned up immediately now. Sinatra can use the Meteor Strike to get out of trouble, but he needs to get some damage done first. No, he has to pull the pin. He gets out with that Meteor Strike and now tries to bring it down. Nice turn of the shield there, though, by Fusion to shut down the radiating damage coming from Sinatra's entrance. Yes, Specs went down, but another beautiful Earth Shatter from Fusions. Stunning work, and just as the USA try and turn their back and run away, they're all knocked to the ground, and this is what happens when you defend without a Reinhardt. Fusions does not have to worry about a shield to block those Earth Shatters.
Look, I mean, he's getting an Earth Shatter about every minute, and he's knocking down, you know, they're converting on the kills here, about 2 kills per Earth Shatter. That's pretty massive. You don't usually see like a ton of kills off of the Earth Shatter. You know, a lot of times you use it into the opponent's shield. Fusion's doing a great job here on offense, and he's going to take Zachary out first.
That's it. The double-decker fast from the UK doesn't stop. Kib forging ahead. Couple extra hits gave him that rally ultimate, and he used it straight away. So much durability on the UK. They've got mobility to boot, and now the Transcendental's being brought in by Boombox. It's just going to be space. Heads up on the payload. Mock trying to join, but he's Earth Shatter before he can even get there. Now Zachary just trying to keep it contested, but he's sucked into a Graviton Surge. Fusions fights too. Self-destruct. Sinatra can't get there. And that is an incredibly fast completion for Route 66 standards, Matt.
2+ minutes.
I mean, at what point was UK not pushing the payload?
I mean, for a little bit after they got point B, but... And you know, I was a player a very long time ago. I've kind of been in the situation that Team USA is in, where you're kind of like this overwhelming favorite. You feel it, you know, the other teams feel it, you know, the crowd obviously is behind you, whatnot. And it's very difficult, as weird as it sounds, with having all that confidence and having all that momentum, when things don't go your way, it's really difficult to get that back, because then you start to have like the nerves setting in a little bit. Absolutely. You start to second guess yourself, and it's really difficult to get the wheels going the other direction, right?
I mean, this is really important insight as well to get an idea of what these players are feeling. Now, obviously, Overwatch is very different from, you know, as Matt put, the Animal Crossing World Championship of 2008, but there are so many of those things about mentally trying to stay ahead and stay in the game, or trying to get back into the driving seat, as it were, and the USA do not look good. They do not physically, mentally, they do not look good at this point, because this is not how they expected this to go. And now that parade after today's announcement has so much more significance. Love to see it.
And it's even almost harder from the coaching role. You know, having coached previously, where you know, you can see your players kind of like wavering a bit. You're like, guys, no, we practice this. We know what to do. We just need to go out and do it. The going out and doing it's the hard part, though.
So in order to do it, as it were, the USA are going to have Boomer on the Reinhardt, you know, pretty much off the bat here. And the USA are playing a very well-behaved, very standard composition here, right? So they're going to have Zenyatta, of course, Raucus looking to get pulled out of the mix. Kib tries to go in over the top, and they don't get the Zenyatta, but they still find Zachary first, and then Raucus. Boomer falling down. In the UK, they've said it before, they know how to play these tanks better than most. Europe, known for, you know, a lot of teams that love to play supports and tanks. They don't like the DPS so much. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing it right now.
Obviously, Roadhog, known for his flanking ability, goes undetected through the train car.
That part is slightly more notable, that he managed to get away with that. But, you know, he's got nose rings elsewhere. Kib, of course, now just trying to, you know, put pressure on Moomer's shield. Roadhog takes a lot of damage, even at long range, but they've lost Mikey early in the fight. The Coalescence was a couple of seconds too late. So now they're going to make up the deficit here, and Kib's going to go for the whole hog, knocking back the entirety of the USA. But Raucus is going to provide that healing for them, of course, in the form of the Transcendence. Kib is knocked off course here. Sinatra very heavily charged up. He has the option to use the Graviton Surge here, but it's unlikely that he bothers.
No, don't need it during this fight. It's being one fight for Team USA. Team UK, they have to know they're behind in terms of, you know, getting that Graviton Surge. They have to be expecting it here. Changes come through, you put the Roadhog away, you get the Brigitte out. Boombox will come back in on the Zenyatta, which has been extremely effective on. So we'll see this next fight from Team UK. Sinatra hiding here. Specs not detecting him.
You know what he did? He just wrote, you know, Jay was here on the back of the mech, you know, in a Sharpie. Drops down, Sinatra needs to use a Graviton here. Is he going to hold it? Great timing again, Mock. Sound barriers, perfect time of that to come down. Sinatra is going to be able to stay alive and still doesn't have to use those ultimates here. So any fight in which the US don't have to overcommit those very important abilities is a win for them. Sinatraa waving at God knows what, but he still has the grab, and that's all that matters.
So the UK, they'll come back with their own grab in the next fight. You want to really build up that Transcendence, as you will have Sound Barrier, so that can protect you against a large chunk of what'll come down with that. Graviton Surge, as they're going to fight this one more. Oh, maybe not.
That's perfect. Graviton Surge keeps all of the UK up on the high ground. They can't contest. They cannot slow down the payload. And the USA will have them for lunch. Now, the United Kingdom probably saw very quickly, Matt, that there's nothing they could do, so they don't use their grab.
I mean, to be clear, they did get USA to invest self-destruct and grab there towards the end for what is essentially, I mean, they really will give up nothing here because you would have fought around the same area anyway in this next fight. So you did get those ultimates out.
Well, what the UK needs to do now is try and take this space. I love what they're doing here. Yeah. Look at this rotation. They're going to sit on the payload and force the USA to fight. Force the USA to fight, knowing that the UK, they have more ultimates to spend. They are coming to this fight looking stronger. Nice little trick Muma used there with the Reinhardt. If you Earth Shatter and jump back twice, you can actually get out of the grab. It's maybe not intended right now. I'm not really sure, but Ryan, quite spry, even in his old age, still not able to escape the follow-up damage that was there. And the UK got to have exactly the fight they wanted.
It's really smart. You mentioned the rotation, but the rotation is key because you can't really get a lot of value with the grab if you're the UK. If everyone from Team USA is pushed up, they're on the high ground, right? How do you draw them back from that high ground? You just get on the payload. You just contest it. Don't allow it to move forward. So they rotate all the way around. They bring it to a fight where they're more comfortable on, right on the ground. No mobility.
Fusions takes a big hit early, but now the Sound Barrier is going to come in and keep everyone just a bit more durable on the side of the UK to continue this fight. And this Earth Shatter, this will be an important ultimate. The UK have used a couple of ultimates here that hasn't actually resulted in too much. And with a Reinhardt, it's quite hard to hit a big shatter. Fusions doesn't really get the result he was looking for now, and Sinatra's very close to yet another Graviton Surge. Charge comes through, Muma taken down by Smex, but Sinatraa in the thick of things, finding multiple kills, very charged up, and Boombox thought he could get behind Sinatraa and trick him, but he was ready.
And if you're the UK team right now, you cannot start to get frantic, right? The payload's moving, the crowd's going crazy, right? Team USA is winning some fights. You have to always remember, look, you have a ton of time on the clock. We see a lot of holds towards the end here on Route 66. If you're UK, you just need to talk about, just play this long game. Draw the clock down, draw the clock down. Even if they take point B, you want to put yourself in a position where there's only maybe 2 fights. You have, a decent amount of ultimate economy, and then you can win it at the end.
How did the UK win this fight without a Zenyatta ultimate? Without the
you probably don't. We'll see how this plays out, but be a grab with the self-destruct behind it. You do get Mumas. That's a big first pick.
Yeah,
you can push off of this.
And the USA have to disengage. They can't actually continue this fight at all. Fusions needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't overextend into something like this. Graviton, self-destruct over the top. That could be the nasty part. No, Fusions! It's like an umbrella. He puts the shield up and he defends the UK against what would have been certain doom. It would have been 4 kills at least there for space on the self-destruct, and that'll keep them in this one. What a big turnaround. Smex gets desuited. Fusion's a little bit low here. Needs to back up as quickly as he can, but he has an Earth Shatter. He just needs a good chance to use it. Here would not be the time. There is still a Reinhardt at large, but now Fusions gets a Sound Barrier. This is where you start to get your hands a little bit dirty, Matt. Looking for an opportunity to lay it down, and there it is! He finds the Earth Shatter. Even Raucus in the back line, and that will end the fight for the United Kingdom. And they're in a position now to win it all right here, right now.
Yeah, and USA had used all of their ultimates up until that point. You just have the grab now, which they built up yet again. Mike will have a grab here as well. So Boombox does have the Transcendence, so to counter Sinatra's grab. That's massive coming into this next fight. See how they decide to attack this. I think they're going to go, a lot like how the UK went around this last time. Force this on the ground.
Yeah, Sinatraa forcing the UK to fight it right here, but Boombox finds the pick. Both teams use Graviton Surge, but the USA are missing one of the biggest sources of damage. Muma, big Earth Shadow throws down, but the Transcendence is there just in time. The UK are kept topped up. Both teams using all of their resources now because they know it's the final fight. Self-destruct goes in there. Space doesn't find any kills quite yet, and Boombox is pursuing Muma doggedly. Eventually he's ground down, but Zachary's found 2 on the Brigitte. He's looking for more. Sinatraa comes in. He's found 1 as well. Now it's his time to shine. And the payload getting pushed ever closer in overtime. The USA managed to hang on. They're going to make a game of it. And now they're going to take it to the final stretch of Route 66.
It is not pretty, but they extend their tournament. Didn't think we'd be saying that for Team USA here.
The day's just started.
But I will say though, UK, that is what I was talking about. They did complete what they needed to do. Ult's gone across the board for everybody. Hero changes just to make it back. You reset some ultimate economy. You can keep playing what you are already playing for UK here at the end, and you made them waste so much time.
Oh, look at that. You see, Muma really wanted that Earth Shatter, but it was obvious. It was telegraphed. Fusions knew. Okay, my opposite number's really trying to knock us down right now. How about I show him how we do
Big
it better
first
here in
fight
the
win
UK?
here.
And that is so big. That is huge, not only because the United Kingdom win the fight, but they've done more damage in this fight, which means they're going to get that next wave of ultimates just that bit quicker, which puts the USA further behind the 8 ball.
So what you look at here is, Mikey is going to use the scrap, right? You have Raucus with Transcendence. Do you invest it or do you save it?
No, straight away he's going to use it. Space tried to eat up that Graviton Surge, but nothing doing. There it is, the shield pushback broken, Muma down. Spence with the self-destruct found not only the enemy Reinhardt, but also the Diva mech. 22 seconds left in the tournament life potentially for the United States of America, and they seem to have very little left in the tank. 2 support ults available here for the United Kingdom. Cruise and Boombox are ready.
You play aggressive. You get both support ults. You're going to have Shatter. With the way Fusions has been nailing these Shatters, you get right up in their face. That's going to be Sinatra down, and you have this Shatter coming into play for Fusions. Let's see how he uses it.
That's it, Fusions putting the hammer and Hammersmith, and now he's going to bring it down one more time, and there it is! If there was any time, it was right there! And the United Kingdom complete the upset we never thought we'd see. It's game one, and the USA are out of the Overwatch World Cup.
And a perfect way to end it there. I feel like Fusions, we talked about him as a leader, a vocal leader through this UK team. Comes up with another big Shatter at the end. Get this, 16 kills off of his Shatters here. 15 final blows as Reinhardt, pretty good. You expect a lot of final blows though when you're playing the Reinhardt in those close compositions. But what a stunning first game. That is something I think none of us expected.
The United Kingdom race across the Atlantic to reclaim what is theirs, and the Union Jack will definitely be held aloft now. So much expectation on this USA roster, so much raw talent, superstars of today and tomorrow, both represented in that team. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. The UK, played this match through with an incredible sense of, insight into what they'd be expecting. They completely outplayed the USA. I need a breath of air. This is unbelievable. We'll be back after a short break, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your hats.